Hello there. This morning I'm trying something that I find really interesting to do with hardware drum machines combined with synthesizer that have a sequencer in them. It's controlling the steps of the sequencer, not the value of the steps, but when the step will be triggered inside the sequence that is already recorded in the sequencer of the synthesizer. Some synthesizer already have a trigger step or a step control where you connect your trigger out into that. And every time it gets a trigger into that input, it will trigger the next step. It's meant to be controlled like this. So it's something I did in videos in the past. And it's something that I was wondering as I was playing with the DrumBrute. It's a clock out. The trigger is the clock, so it's always fixed and it's controlled by the internal clock. But if I want to control with one sound, well, it's actually possible because you have 4 different outputs at the back. You cannot assign what you want in each of the outputs, so you need to decide which sound you will stop using in the DrumBrute as a sound that you hear, and you'll use then as the trigger. And it has to be a sound that you can shape so it becomes a trigger. So very quick, high volume, and maybe high pitch also. In older drum machine, people would use the output, the dedicated output of the cowbell, for example, and send that as the trigger because there was no trigger out just for control like that. So in the DrumBrute, we have an output for kick, snare, hi-hat, and the last one is for the FM drum. So I'm going to use the FM drum this time as a dedicated trigger out. So I'm going to patch a cable at the back of it. But before we do that, we need to shape it. And before we do, we need to understand how clock works. Clock, the analog clock, is basically a bunch of impulses that are sent to tell the time or the speed at which the device should play. There is no start information. There is no stop information unless that, basically just stop playing the clock, it stops. There's no position in it. It doesn't know if it's on the first beat, second beat. It's only a tempo. It's like listening to a click track or listening to a metronome. That's what it is. And we follow the metronome. So the metronome doesn't say 1, 2, 3. There's no more information than just click, 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 click. That's it. So if you stop, change something, and you play again, and this one's play back from the beginning, but the other one plays from where it was, out of sync. Just remember that, okay? In my case, that's kind of what I want to do. I want it to, not out of sync, but out of musical relation, I want to change as it plays because I want to control that. Sometimes the sequence plays 16 steps, sometimes it plays 15, sometimes it plays something else. I want to play with that and just have fun over the sequence. And as I'm changing the sequence here, I want to change the speed of the way the other one plays. Now I'm going to combine the DrumBrute impact and control by the FM drum output, the speed of the MiniFreak by clock. So speed, just before we go further than that, in the clock, you can change information about how clock works inside different devices, depending on the device itself. In the case of the MiniFreak, you have to go into the menu and change. In the MiniFreak, you go into utility and you choose sync. There's sync input type, and you change the type of input to which one you want. Now, the value you have there will be 2 ppq, 4 ppq, 24 ppq, 48 ppq. ppq is parts per quarter notes, basically. How many impulses are being sent by the other device or are being weighted, to be synced on by the receiving device. And it's kind of the precision, if you want, or the divisions. It's basically the number of impulse per quarter note that the device happens to send and the other one happens to receive. It has to be the same. But now it's going to be difficult because if I say that I'm going to send, because by default, I think this one is at 48 ppq, and and to change that, you go into the menu And this one, to change it in the DrumBrute, you can also change it. And you can even change it into other format, like the Korg format, which is another format at all. I think that the impulse is the other way around, is being, instead of going from 0 to 100, it goes from 100 to a 0. So you have to verify these things because it might not work the way you want. So what I'm doing right now, I'm converting, I'm telling this one to be at what? So this one, if I'm going to go shift this, I'm going to go to sync, sync, click type, clock in type. It says 4 ppq. So 4 ppq, I'll be able to control that with my sequence here. This one, let's say I just want to use the clock, the normal clock. I'm going to take clock out. Clock. And if I press play here, that's wrong. Why? Because this one, if I go look into the value of this one, go into device setting, you see this one is at 24 ppq, and this one is at 4. But if I go back to 24 here, I enter this, same speed, now it works correctly. That's the logic. So to be able to use normal clock, you just need to verify that they use the same type of clock. And in the case of modern devices, you can change them, sometimes using a software like the DrumBrute Impact software, or internally with a sub-menu when you go and say, that's the value. I want something, if I keep everything at 0 here, just have some type of kick, you know? I want something that is very fast going, loud, and stops. So it's just an impulse. Perfect. And now if I enter the value of this, like this, you're gonna have, that's my clock, my new one that I'm creating, okay? So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna see my same cable that was connected in clock in, and instead of connecting into clock out, I'm gonna use FM drum. If I press play now, works, but it's not the right speed. It's slower because it takes 4. Actually, this moves every 24 ppq. So it needs 24 to move it. So now if I'm going to go back here and the receiving end and say clock in, I'm going to bring it down to 4, enter. Now try this again. Because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 recorded notes. So now it works, the PPQ works a lot more. It's right on target. Now, the fun part is when you go. But remember that you can do ratchet into this one. So you can say this one is going to be twice as fast. So when you play this one now, the one plays 2. Or let's say we take this one, 2, this one, 2, this one, 2. So now this 4 are playing 2, 2, 2, 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8. that's bizarre. You see the potential here. You can do some weird way of bringing your sequence into another realm by using this in a totally different fashion than it was meant before. So of course, the normal way, and to have one step per, and then here switch into a value that, let's say 4 ppq, which is equal, and then just, I'm going to stop this again, then go. Play what you're expecting. Then the fun part is when you stop. It means that every time the sequence play back, there's one off. So it gradually changes where the note fits or falls within the drum beat. That's a cool thing. That's it. Quick, fun. I hope this inspires you to use this logic in another device. And I could use this to trigger something here in my semi-modular synthesizer. I could use this to trigger something else. I could say, I'm going to use it once and can change the decay to control the envelope of the drum. On this one, let's say I'm doing a kick. Well, that's going to be another video. If you want me to show you or explore how to use the trigger, the internal sound here, to trigger a sound on this one, CV-wise, without a CV, like I'm doing right now, but sound-wise, not sequence-wise, well, write in the comments and I'll cook something up. That's it. Stay safe. Make more music. See you soon. Cheers.